Good morning, guys. This is Travis Yarbrough with the Travis Yarbrough Show. Today, it's my honor to have Justin Tisdale with us this morning. How you doing, man?
And I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing great, brother. Doing great. Glad to have you here. Thanks for driving down this morning.
Always.
This beautiful
Always.
morning. If you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Justin Tisdale. They call me Bruno Havana, for the lady. No, I'm kidding.
I like it.
Yeah.
Bruno.
Yeah. The whole story on nothing. But I'm a pilot. I travel the world building airplanes. I do a little bit of real estate now. Starting that all up. And former Marine. You're never not a Marine.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. Former active duty. And just a kid that grew up around Arkansas, man.
I love it. What part of Arkansas were you born in and raised in?
So I was born up in Springdale, of all places. Great place, Northwest Arkansas. Grew up in Siloam.
Okay, cool.
At one time, we're in the Guinness Book of World Records for most churches per capita, believe it or not.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, grew up in that, man.
Wow. And one casino.
And one casino, yeah. And we used to be a dry county until like 5 years ago. Well, I guess it'd be about 10 now. But yeah, that's how I grew up, man.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
What do you want to know?
Everything you got going on right now, because I know you've been all over the world traveling. Yeah. It's been really fun to watch. What with the airplanes and everything that you've got going on right now?
So I got involved in aviation about 5 years ago out of just a conversation. My dad passed away. It was something he wanted to do. This is kind of the backstory of trying to get you to where I'm at today, I guess. Mm-hmm. My dad always wanted to do it. We grew up, without the means to be able to do that. He did some flying while he was in the Navy and just never got his pilot's license. And when he passed away, I kind of made it a point to myself and a point to him, a promise, if you will, to become a pilot. Well, what I did is I actually wound up buying a kit-built kit, it's basically like a Lincoln log set for an airplane. It's called the Zenith 750. So I built this thing in my garage, got it done, realized I wasn't a pilot, needed to take that on and do it. So about 3.5 years ago, I became a pilot. And through aviation, I've had some amazing experiences doing national stall drags, going to the Reno air races, the national championship, and had all these people that I met, just these amazing people. And they're like, I find myself in these odd conversations, which is kind of where I got to where I'm at today, going and building airplanes. Hey, would you be interested in going to China? And, so Zenith called me and they said, hey, we're building some airplanes over there. Got a guy that's interested in having you come across. They're going to use them for humanitarian aid and getting people out into remote areas. I thought about it, and here we are. I've been doing it. I travel doing aviation for the most part with TL Sport, too. Got to go help them over in the Czech Republic, help them figure out the best way to put a backwoods airplane model together. They brought it to the States. It was actually out at High Sierra last week. And then it was at Birds down here. And then it was also, I don't think it made it to the national stall event out there. But, getting involved in all this stuff is wild. But if it wasn't for that promise that I made myself and my dad, I wouldn't be where I'm at doing it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want to say something too real quick.
Yeah, man.
I did let Justin take me up. And, I told him I had vertigo.
Yeah, I felt so bad about it.
And everything was great until next thing you know, we're on our side in the air, and I got a little sick, didn't I?
Yeah, and it wasn't even anything crazy. We were just doing a side slip down the runway, and I felt so bad. You sat in that truck for like 45 minutes,
bro. It took me 3 stops on the way home to get home, but that's normal for me. Anytime my vertigo kicks in, I'll find points in my mind. Like I was like, if I can get to the corner in Bacola and get to that shopping center, then I'm 5 minutes closer. Take me about a 15-20 minute break, try to get everything back together. But it is really fun. Honestly, when I was up there, while we were up there, I remember telling you, I'm buying an airplane.
Yeah.
I'm buying an airplane. Yeah. Like, I was loving it. It really wasn't until that turn, which it seriously wasn't that crazy of a turn, especially for you. But all I seen was down, and all of it just, I should have kept my eyes on something. But it was a lot of fun. I wish I could do it. I really do, because those sport planes they're amazing, man.
Yeah, and it's affordable. That's the thing, is like anybody can get into it. You can go up and Google Zenith 750 and see the kits and stuff. But, I remember I was sitting in the little mule or whatever next to your truck, and you were just laying back, and I was like, man, I feel so bad. This guy's not going to do it. And like, I'm so good with everyone. Like when I take them up, I have this rule that, I was explaining what we were doing, right? As we were doing it. And because you want everyone to have the best experience in aviation so that they can come and be a part of the family, right? Because aviation is so much a family. And for myself, it's probably the biggest part of everything I have going on. As the people that I've come in contact with, and they've allowed me to be in those opportunities that I've had. I would never have had those before. Probably would be laying in a ditch dead somewhere if I didn't meet them all,
What it showed me is that flying is for everyone.
100%.
I think people don't really understand that. It seems so big for most people to just fly an airplane.
Yeah.
But when I'm in there with you, it was just like running down to the store in the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing is like aviation and all these things that you look at from a standpoint of where you're at in life, they seem so far away sometimes. And sometimes it's just putting that foot forward to get to it. And that's what happened with me was I had a conversation. And I was like, well, why am I not doing it? Right? Yeah, I have this promise. I want to do it. And then I made some bad decisions by putting a kit on a credit card at the time at 24% interest, but it's brought me the most joy in my life. I paid that card off immediately, but it took me a little time to do it.
So you didn't minimum paying it out?
Yeah, oh, dude, it was like, I'm pretty sure I got my first bill. It was like, I think it was like $1,300 a month. I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. Like it was a house payment, at the time. And, but I got it done. I took odd jobs, built things, cabinets, all that, woodworking. And that's actually how I started the woodworking company, was to pay for the airplane stuff. So it's kind of always been a theme in my life. But it seems so far away. But if you just go and talk to people, if you just go and put that foot forward and figure out how to get in it, it's the whole janitor thing, right? Like you're the example of it, right? Like you work at a place and you wind up owning the place.
Yes, sir.
If you just put that foot forward, do the best you can every day, you're going to wind up finding a way to get into that path or get whatever it is you're trying to get to.
Anyone.
Yep.
It's just that first hurdle. Most people stop at the first speed bump.
Yep.
Because it's extremely hard. And I wish I could sit here and say, the longer you do it, the easier it gets. It's totally opposite. Yeah. We get bigger. It gets harder. It just gets harder and harder. But I was built for it. I love it. I struggle every day. I say that on almost every episode because it's just true. Because I just want people to know that it comes with a lot of struggle. Because sometimes people just see everything on the outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The highlight reel.
Yeah, like Mike Shelton said, on the first one, they see the glory, but they don't know the story. Yeah. And that kind of hit hard with me about that. So obviously, almost everyone that I have on the show, I'm all about recovery. So I want to talk about that a little bit because I know you've battled some really difficult things through your life and brought yourself from rock bottom to where you are today. Do you mind touching on that a little bit?
Yeah, not at all. I just kind of got cold chills because I remember the conversation that you and I had the first time we met, right? Yes. We're in this little office. And yes. I'm practically in tears.
It got deep.
Yeah, and to meet someone in 5 minutes and then go down that road is kind of wild because there's people that are probably going to watch this and be like, I never knew, And I have one of those things that, I've been homeless, multiple times in my life. One time during the military, which is crazy to say, but it happened. I was living out of my truck, type of thing. And you make these decisions in life, and I did too. I grew up in church, used to do the whole thing. Ordained at 15, figured that's what I would do. Life has a way of throwing you curveballs, and when you thought you were going to be a youth pastor and do all this great stuff in life, sometimes it doesn't work that way. You find a different path, not because God's calling you to do that. It's because you stepped away from God. And that's kind of the theme I have in my life is every time I stepped away from God, these things happen, right? Right? You wind up being homeless. You wind up going to jail. You wind up doing all these things, drugs, all this stuff that you never thought you'd do. And, for myself, being homeless and hitting rock bottom, trying to figure out, just sitting there like, where and what am I doing with my life? And how how did I get here? And by the time you get to that moment, there's so much stuff that's happened that it's hard to get out of it. You know, you and I talked a little bit about, you know, like the prison and drugs and things like that. Like it's not the first spoon, it's not the first shot, it's the ending one. It's the hardest one to get away from. It's easy to start, but it's hard to climb back.
It definitely is.
You know, and for myself, you know, growing up in church and doing all this ministry stuff, that theme being there is huge. And you'd have these moments where, you know, you're at rock bottom, you're homeless, you know, trying to figure out where you're going to sleep that night. And you sit there going, there's got to be a different way, you know. And for myself, I hit rock bottom where there were thoughts that I'm not proud of. Like, you know, that's just how it works.
Yes.
You know, and those thoughts are, you know, anybody watching knows what those thoughts are.
Yes, they are. I can end all of this right now.
Yep. And
very easily. I'm worthless.
Yeah.
I've hurt everybody that I know and care about, and I can fix all this right now real quick.
Right.
And that's not the right thought.
Yeah, it's not.
It's the easy way out.
It's the easy way out, right? And me being a Marine and all that, and like I have this thing now, you know, I joined the Marine Corps, did all that, and you would think that all these things change and your life changes for the better. It does. Don't get me wrong. If I didn't have the values I have right now from the Marine Corps, I'd be in a ditch somewhere. I'd be in prison. I guarantee it, 100%. With that, with my faith and the people that are around me and I surround myself with, it would be very easy to fall back into the things I was doing before, you know. And luckily I haven't, and I'm not ever going to, because of that way of life. You know, it just changes.
The support you have now too.
Yeah.
And the people that care about you and look up to you, and yeah. Yeah,
and the opportunities that are given to me, you know, and for myself, you know, you run into all these other people, and this was something you and I didn't really talk about the first time, but you know, we have these opportunities that are given to us by God, right? And like, I don't know if you've read Matthew recently or not, but you know, Jesus is talking about these parables and these things that he does. And so, you know, these servants, 3 servants, and a master. A master gives these 3 servants pieces of gold, talents. And he gives the first one 5, second one 3, third one 1. First 2 go and invest. You know, this master's going on a long trip. It's going to be gone for a while. You know, and Jesus is telling this story to people. And basically what happens is those first 2 invest. When the master comes back, he says, oh, you did great. They doubled their money. So those talents that he gave them, the gold, you know, the pieces, they did great with it. But then the servant that only had 1 piece didn't do anything with it. He hid it. Didn't want to take basically the drawing a blank risk with it, you know. And the servant's like, you know, I hid it away. And Jesus starts talking about this in a way that the master is basically like, well, you squandered the talent that I gave you. And then further down in Matthew, it starts talking about the sheep and the goats. And, you know, the sheep are the people that went and have done good works for God. And then the goats are people that hid away, you know. And you can think about that in like neighborhood aspect, right? Because I don't know if you have any goats or sheep, but a lot of people don't get that these days. So if you're thinking about it and you're thinking about neighborhoods and things like that, you've got these people that are always ready to jump in, right? Sweep, clean, help someone that needs to do something with their house. And then you got these people that are just inside, close the blinds, close the doors. It's not my problem. They'll figure it out. I was very much one of those people for a long time.
Me too.
Very long time.
Me too.
And then you read a little further down, and you know, Matthew's writing about what God's saying, what Jesus is saying to these people. And God says, for all these people that are on my right, the sheep, when I was cold, you clothed me. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was in prison, you came and saw me. When I was in need, you helped me. And these people that are there, they ask, they go, well, when did we help you? We never saw you. God said, when you helped those less fortunate people in life, those people that were hungry, people that needed to be clothed, people that needed to be seen, that was me. You're helping me. So you will inherit everything.
Amen.
And I think that has been the driving force in my life is that story and that parable, because for the longest time, I didn't care about anything but myself. And what I started doing was I realized I'm getting all these things. I'm having all these opportunities that all these other people are not having. Why am I getting them? What am I different, right? And I had done some terrible things, very terrible things in life. But all these opportunities kept happening. And, you and I talked, you go into jail and those things, like you get those rock bottom moments. And when those rock bottom moments come, you go, okay, what can I do different here? And for me, that's what it was. It was like, I'm just going to give my life over to God fully and see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? Can't get any worse than where I'm at right now, And I did. And I don't know what it was. I started thinking about people around me. I started thinking about my families, people I hurt, And it's tough. It's tough to sit here and say, oh, I fixed it all, Because this is years ago, 20, 30 years ago. But you still look at it and you go, man, I was that person at one time. Even with all the things that everyone sees. They see the highlight reel, right? But they don't see how you got here. They don't see the hurt, long nights, the stuff that you did that you're not proud of.
Absolutely.
They see the stuff you're proud of. But that's because it's what you want them to see.
Well, we show them what we, like you just said, we show them what they want to see.
Exactly.
We're men. We don't want to show our hurt.
Yeah.
We don't want to show, you know what I mean? And also, I think I've always been the type that I don't want to put my problems on other people because other people didn't make me do the things that I did.
Exactly.
It was all me. All me. Yeah, that's super deep, bro.
Yeah,
and
accountability.
That's awesome that you did decide just to turn everything over to him. Yeah. And I can say since I have done that, and it's honestly only been over the past couple of years. I mean, I've always loved and understood, but I just really didn't know how to really give myself to him. And the last few months, I've really understood as I've learned to listen to him, and I'm just so thankful for him and the platform that he's given. You know, it would be selfish to be the one in the house closing the blinds. Yep. I mean, God doesn't give for you to go hoard. You know, he gives. I believe that he does for people that he knows their hearts and he knows he's going to go out and do his work. Yeah. And that's what I want to. That's what I want to do. I want to be more like God every day, and I want to do his work.
Well, you're doing it, and you know, it was something I thought about on the drive down here. You know, I was like, well, if there's any example that I've seen out of you, man, that's what you're doing. I mean, think about it. Like, you know, you and I talked. I saw some videos from last year, and this is something that, you know, I was gonna have done and is still being done, but it didn't get done in time. They told me it'll be done on Monday, but it was supposed to be today. But I don't know if you know this. There's not really a bank that prints these big checks. Like, you have to go get them made. They're fake, apparently. I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't know that. But from CMB Bank and from myself, I want to give you $500 to help and support the turkey drive. I know that's coming up that you do every year.
Bro, man.
And
man.
So,
so
on Monday,
cool,
I'll get that thing and bring it down here for you.
Man, that's so cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though, is like you have a way of bringing people around and showing kindness and affection and all these things that God calls out of a man. You know, you don't think of all these things like affection and love and with a man, but a strong man in God does that. He does those things that a sheep is asked to do, right? And you're doing it.
He does, and I want to tell you, and this is from the bottom of my heart, you are the first person that has ever given to me.
Oh, man.
This is the first time ever.
Really?
It's always me giving.
Yeah.
It really gives me chills because, you know, that's a blessing that's now being poured onto me, and it's going to help a lot of people. I mean, $500 buys a lot of turkeys.
Yeah. I figured one or two.
Thanksgiving is a big deal to me. You know, here at Stainless Innovations, we pay for our Thanksgiving dinners for our employees. Man, that's so cool, man.
Yeah. Well, and
thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
I see what you're doing, you know, and it goes back to that whole parable, right? Like, God gives these talents, and it's even the word talent, right? Like, you have the podcast, you have the company, you have everything that you're doing in your own life, you know, the cars and things like that, but you're using them to bring people together.
Absolutely. All of it. The car shows.
Yep.
If people could just understand and come to a car show and meet and see how much God has talked about, it's just, it's unbelievable. It really is. and I love cars. You know, growing up in a transmission shop, you know, I was R&Ring at 13 years old. For y'all that don't know what R&R is, it's pulling transmissions out, tearing them down, getting them in the parts washer. My grandpa would do the standards, my dad would do the automatics, and then I'd put them back in. So, you know, me and my brother Chris as well, you know, we just grew up tinkering with cars and loving cars. And now that I can buy the parts I want and build the things I want, you know, it's very important to me. But it all has to do with God. And I believe it is okay to have things, you know. As long as you're giving and doing your part, it's I mean, those are blessings, you know. 100%. Just like our families are blessings, you know, and we put into them just like we put into anything else.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put it into a C10. I mean, whatever.
You know what I mean?
but that's the thing though, is like if you think about it, it becomes a ministry almost, right? Like for me, flying, every time I take somebody up is an opportunity to talk. You get done, right?
Yes.
I mean, imagine if I just pulled the power, turned the motor off. We'll have a real big come to Jesus moment.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
We'll get down safe because I know how to fly the plane. But
well, they will learn how to pray.
Exactly. And we could do that, but that's not a good way of doing it, right? And so you have these opportunities, you have these talents that God gives you, and you can put them in the ground and hide them, or you can get them out there and double them in the way of the Lord.
Absolutely.
And you're doing that, and that's why I've wanted to do that. And I know Shane Timmons up at CMB Bank. He doesn't know I'm doing this, by the way. He's just gonna find out when he watches. But that's coming out for CMB and myself. And we're to that point where in life, if you're gonna help somebody, sometimes you have to give of yourself, and some people can't. You're like that guy with the one gold piece, right?
Selfishness.
Yeah, and some people think about that, and I think about this in the parable too, is when I was that guy, was I afraid, or was I just doing it out of selfishness? And what I found was I was doing it out of selfishness. I want the big house. I want the fancy cars. I want to take the trips around the world and do everything. And when you don't have the money, you got to figure out where to get it.
1,000%.
And that was what my hustle was about, was, okay, we got to put food on the table. We got to figure out how to do this, do that. You know, I need to put fuel in the car. I need to figure this out. And then we get to a different point in life now where, you know, I gave my life to God and started trying to live life in a way that every person I come in contact with, when they walk away, can go, man, I hope that guy does good with his life.
You got that out of me when I met you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. We had that conversation, and, you know.
It did happen extremely fast.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, sometimes God puts people in your life as examples, and sometimes God puts people in your life to go, hey, this is what you need right now in your heart. And I'll tell you what, I feel like that day was a day that I needed that in my heart. And I felt like you did too.
1,000%.
You know, everybody that was there, part of it. And, here we are. Right?
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. You know, we got a good friendship and a good way about us. And I think for you, doing all the things that you're doing, if there's any way that I can help or anyone out there can help, they should be reaching out and be like, hey, let's figure out how to make this something better, you know? And, I just want you to know I'm proud of you and where you're at. I know that's probably something you hear a lot, but I'm glad to have met you. I'm glad to be a part of your life, and I'm glad that you're a part of mine.
Same, and thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the conversations and all the things that you have talked about together over the, basically the past year.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been, me and Braden back there in the back.
Yeah, he's a good guy too. He's a little tired.
He was actually there that day when I met you.
Yeah. He was just quiet, sitting in the corner.
And that's the thing is that, this isn't my style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This isn't your style?
Well, it kind of is my style.
I was say, come on.
Well, okay.
Come on, Trav. This is definitely
my
your style.
This is definitely my style.
Yeah.
But the podcast really wasn't in my. A lot of it was Braden pushing me, saying, "Man, this is what I feel like this is what you need, what we need," and I am starting to enjoy it more and more every time. Especially, the best things that's came out of it is the private messages that I've been receiving, the people that I've been able to try to help, not try to help, but help. There's a lot of people out there hurting, and it takes guys like you and me that have been through these things, But unless we tell our stories, they don't know. Yeah. You know, so with us telling their stories, they say, hey, well, you know, there's going to be homeless people watching this. And they're going to say, wow, you know, I could, you know, become a pilot and build airplanes one day. Yeah. You know, because basically, I mean, that you're going overseas working with them on building airplanes. Yeah. I know you and I discussed building airplanes. You know, you gave me the drawings. We looked them all over. Let me ask you this: is China kind of like with everything else that we buy? Even the airplanes are made over there.
No,
like is it like everything?
So the way this one is working is they're buying the kits from the U.S., which you know is just mind blowing in itself. And you know,
got me.
Yeah. And when the company called me and they're like, "Hey, we don't know anybody dumb enough to go over there. You seem like an all right guy. Would you want to go over there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go over there." Not even a question in my mind. I love traveling. You know, military. I can be in odd situations and figure it out, which is you know what we were talking about earlier. I stole a scooter while I was in China to get back to a certain place. Some wild little stories already have happened. But like the way it works with them is they buy the kits, they come in, we put them together, and then they, you know, the provinces, each place in China is like a state, basically, right? They call them provinces. They have a governor for each one, and there's a bunch of them. So this one province we're in right now, Sichuan, well, it's Suqian. They say it's Sichuan, but I say it's Sichuan, so they all look at me like I'm funny. They already look at me funny
Kind of
anyway.
like their J and H's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They call me Justin. Or, you know, they don't call me Justin. They call me Huston, or, you know, that's their thing. Huston. I'm like, it's Justin, dude. Just say the J. But, you know, it's fun. Everyone over there is super nice, is what we were talking about earlier. But they buy the kits. We come in, we build them, and they want to build 145 of them by the end of next year. And what that is it allows those airplanes to get out there and do humanitarian aid, gets people out into the foreign areas that it's really hard to get to.
Yes, because... Yeah, because you can land in 15 feet.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And they want me to teach them how to fly. Like they see the videos of all of us flying and me flying, and I'm like, look, guys, this is like minimum fuel. This is not with like loaded up and all that. And it's fun. It's actually a lot of fun, and it's one of the cleanest places I've ever been. Everyone's super nice. Now, when it comes to government, it's a different story, right? Like it's very straight laced, it's communist, right? And we talk about this, and I've already looked into it to see it too, because, you know, I'd heard about the Christian persecution over there and everything like that had happened. And that doesn't seem to be happening much anymore, you know.
Are there still a lot of Christians? Are there Christians over there?
It's not an underground thing as much as it was. And actually, one of the cigar places that I went to, there's a guy that was behind the bar, and we were talking. He was like, "You're from America, right?" I'm like, yeah, I'm from Texas, because it's the only place they know. They don't know Arkansas. They don't know Salem Springs, Arkansas, in Northwest
or
Arkansas.
California.
They're like, that's pretty much it. They're like, "You from LA?" I'm like, "No, man, no, I'm not from LA." They're like, "Oh, Texas."
Thank goodness.
Yeah, they see my cowboy boots and they're like, Texas. But so he's like, "Are you Christian?" And like, you got to think, like, in that split moment, God calls you to say, "I am a Christian," right? But also, my military mind in the back is, I'm in a communist country right now. It persecutes people for claiming to be Christian. And over there, they have people follow you. Like, it's very interesting how it works over there. They, you know, you get a handler type of thing. Luckily, they've kind of let me do what I need to do. And so that crosses your mind all in this like split second before my mouth is about to say, "Yeah, I'm a Christian." And I stop and I don't say it, right? First time that's ever happened in my life, you know, feeling like I'm feeling it right now. I'm like getting hot in my chest thinking about it, because like for the longest time I grew up in church, all this stuff. I fell away from God, you know, doing all these terrible things and all that. And, you know, military has a way of, you know, you see things, you do things, and you come back. You know, you're like, man, God's the only thing that can save me right now, type of thing. And even during all that, it was like very open. China, it's not as open as you think, but it's getting better there. And we talked for a minute, and I go, "Yeah, no, I'm a Christian." You know, I didn't tell him I was, you know, grew up in church and all that, because I didn't know what the end conversation was going to be.
Absolutely. Or what the repercussion would be.
Yeah, because I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're not exactly in your country.
Yeah, and it's very weird because I had people follow me to the train station and take pictures. And I'm like, my military mind in the back is like, that's a little odd. Let's take note of that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, these are just some tourists or something.
What's this white dude doing over here?
Yeah. And I'm out in the middle of like, I'm away from everybody, right? Like Hong Kong and Shanghai are two completely different things, right? Like Hong Kong's considered almost a different country in China.
How far away are they from each other?
So Hong Kong, is in the south, and then you go to Shanghai, and then you go from Shanghai on a train 3 hours out to where I'm at Sichuan.
One of those fast trains?
Yeah, bullet train. Oh. And dude, I'll tell you what, it is the best sleep you'll ever have on one of those, because like the way it rocks and stuff, it was awesome. But so I'm like 3 hours in mainland China, which is pretty deep, and I'm like, well, if something happens, I'm in mainland China, I should probably mind my P's and Q's type of thing, and that's where this happened, And I'm in an industrial city that you drive around, it looks like Chicago or New York. Not Chicago, because there's a lot going on there right now, but it looks like New York. It's crazy. Big, tall buildings. There's 1.5 million people in the city that I'm in. And I'm like, but it's one of the nicest, cleanest places I've ever been.
More people than in the state of Arkansas.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we got, I don't really know. I'd have to look into that. But they, and this is just one city. It's not like the whole province. I'm talking about one city. And beautiful place. Everyone's super nice. And this is where this happens. And so this guy asked me that. And, I say that. And, dude, his face just lights up like a Christmas tree. And he's a bigger guy. He's, bigger guy. And, we sat there and we talked a minute. And he's telling me, oh, my grandpa, doesn't believe in it. And he's telling me about how everyone there under the age of like 30 doesn't believe in anything. It used to be like Buddha, Christianity, and all that.
I was going to ask that too.
Yeah, and they communists there ruled with an iron fist, 100% in China. Everything you think about and you see, that happened. Those things happen. But over the last like 20 years, religion has started to creep up, and when you have a revival for God, it doesn't matter where it's at.
No,
it's going to spread.
Absolutely.
And if you think about missionaries that used to go into China, I just got another cold chill because there's a story I heard pretty much from him. Missionaries would come in and they'd get hemmed up. They'd be in handcuffs. They'd be thrown in gallows type of thing.
So just like in the Bible.
Yeah, and I know some friends that have been over there, and they spoke very highly of everything that happened. I'm like, well, what's the difference in that than 10 years ago? I'm like, well, it's a regime change, right? Religion's becoming bigger over there. Christianity's becoming bigger. It's still underground. It's still not. I can't go anywhere in the city and go find a Catholic church or Protestant church or anything like that. And now I'm sitting here thinking about it. I don't think I've ever seen a church in the city that I was in.
I was going to ask that too.
Yeah, like I'm sitting here. I've been all around that dadgum city, and I don't think I've seen one church. But they have a lot of temples, right? And that's kind of their thing. But they don't believe in anything at all. Pretty much people under the age of 30. The people above 30, they've been there during the communist rule with an iron fist thing, and for that they were more Buddhist, stuff like that. And you go to the west and the north, it's Tibet, all that stuff. That's where that comes from. But south, mainland China, all the way to the east, pretty much no religion.
Wow.
Yeah. Hong Kong and Shanghai is different. Like I actually stayed next door to a Methodist church. Very odd. Methodist church. You'd think that, yeah. And then 7-Day Adventist church across the street. And so that was different, but it's a thing you sit there and you think about it, and you're like, well, Hong Kong is considered a different country than mainland China, really. So they're able to do whatever they want, to an extent. And then Shanghai, I actually did. I walked into a Catholic cathedral, and not something I ever thought I'd see in China. And same thing, painted beautifully.
Pictures, you gotta send me some.
So that's the thing. If I was in Hong Kong, it would have been okay. Shanghai, I was on the outside of Shanghai and old Shanghai. And they ask as you go in to not take pictures.
Yeah, Braden's big on Catholic churches too.
Because he went to Rome. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I always wonder, like in other countries, something that surprised me. I went on a cruise earlier this year, and the massage lady, she was from the Philippines. Yeah. And I'm one of those, how they'll always ask you, do you want to talk or you just want everything quiet? Yeah. Well, I like to talk. Yeah. I like to get to know them. And it really surprised me. She was Catholic. And she's from the Philippines. I was like, wow, what's that like being Catholic in the Philippines? And she was like, well, 95% are Catholic in the Philippines. And it's just not what I expected. I I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I just really didn't expect it. But we talked about God a lot, and it was cool listening to her life. She had a 14-year-old son that was in a Christian school in the Philippines. She spent 11 months out of the year on the boat. Same thing with the guy that was cleaning our room. I just met a lot of good people on those ships. You don't realize, but he told me that him as well, he'll spend 12 or 13 months, 14 months on the ship and then go home. And he was like, when I go home, I am that doctor. I am that. You know what I mean? I take care of all my family. I'm that. And it's just so cool how, because on the ship, it's every single person almost is from a different country. There might be, I'm not very good with geography, so I can't remember how many countries there are. 13.
I don't know. Countries? I mean, I've been to like 29, so there's definitely more than 13.
Know how many countries there are?
How many countries are where?
Are in the world?
Seems like a ChatGPT Google question.
Yeah, no doubt.
Over 130, I believe.
Oh, wow.
I got some traveling to do.
And I just said 13. I think 13 was the original states, right?
Yeah. I was going to say, man, I've definitely been to more than 13 countries so far. But could be wrong.
So what's your plans and goals? Like, I know you're back in the States right now. You're back up in Springdale. Are you working up there right now? Or?
Well, so I came back to check out. We bought a bunch of avionics, engines, and things like that. I started Nomad Air about 6 months ago. Actually purchased an airplane company with it, which is very odd.
Awesome.
Yeah, I bought the plans for it, and I've already been working with that, and I'm doing some things in that world along with the government, and we're working really hard on that to get first 10 out, and that's coming together right now. But for myself, even on this trip back, it's always to set myself up for the next part, right? So I'm going to go back, finish these. We'll continue to order kits. I'll continue to go over, about every 15 days for 10 days or so. They're setting up 2 factories there, and, I'm teaching them how to do everything and getting their processes streamlined so that they can do this very, very quickly. And then I think about it, I come back here. I've got a couple airplane builds that I'm doing right now. I've got an 801 up in Springdale that I'm building, and then I got the 2 Zeniths in Fayetteville that I got to finish. So that's all like wintertime stuff. Mm-hmm. But past that, Shane at CMB and I have been talking. We met through the real estate, right? And that's where my brain is. I think a catalyst to being able to get your life where you want it to be. Real estate is a really good option. This is not advice, by the way.
Well,
do not take Justin's advice. If
I
there's
can
anything.
say, everyone that I know that does extremely well owns a lot of real estate.
Yep.
It's my passion as well.
Yep. And that's
I love real estate. I love commercial real estate. I started with residential first, very small scale, and felt like I was just, chasing $100 bill around. You get rent, you pay bills, and then a hot water heater goes out and you lose $400 that month. And it's so long term as to where commercial is quick turnaround. You can start making money immediately in the right situations.
Yeah.
Now I can say not everything works, and I always want to make that clear, because I've had a lot of failures and a lot of things that haven't worked. I've just been blessed to have enough that has worked. But if you're not failing, you're not learning.
Yep.
If you're not failing, you're not working hard enough. And that's not my opinion to me. Yeah. That's a fact to me.
Well, yeah, it's the 99 rule, right? Like if you're trying to do something, you do it 100 times, 99, you figured out how not to do it. You got that. All you're looking for is that one time for it to go right.
Absolutely.
But that's 99 hard lessons.
They say practice until you can't get it wrong.
Right. Yeah, and that's the part. If there's a running theme in my life, it's I'm gonna fail. Like, right?
Oh yeah,
and that's
that's
part of it. And I hate saying that.
Yeah,
because,
but you gotta be ready for it.
Yeah, but if there's a lesson that I want people to learn and how I got to where I'm at and where I'm going, hopefully in a year we can update and see where Justin's at. Hopefully not dead in a ditch in China, but
you won't be.
Yeah. I'll probably be. Probably be on half of China. No,
you'll probably be on another one of those rooftops, those beautiful rooftops that I seen you on.
Yeah. That's the thing is like.
Weren't you in Dubai too?
So I went to Egypt.
Okay.
That's probably the one you're talking about. Yeah, with the pyramids in the background.
Yes,
yeah, smoking a cigar, man,
bro.
Yeah, like I said, I've had very many awesome opportunities, And a lot of that comes through the people I run into. And some of the best things in my life that have happened were from 10-minute conversations, truthfully. And that's the mindset that you have to have when you're almost living a godly life, right? Is you, in 10 minutes, can you give someone everything they need? Probably not, right? But if you're living a godly life and you're living your life in a way that, hey, God, I'm a vessel, you use me however you want.
Absolutely.
Chances are God's going to be like, hey, you met that guy for 10 minutes, but you might have said 2 words to him, but those are the 2 words he needed at that moment. And I find myself in these weird situations, like going to China to build airplanes, right? But what's the end cause? Well, it's humanitarian aid to help people get out and help. Do I think that that's going to be exactly what's going to happen? That's what I'm told. Until I see otherwise, I'm going to continue on. Mm-hmm. And my hope and goal is that maybe some type of ministry gets put in that and gets pushed out there.
Yeah. And then open up China and these other places.
And, I'm
sure if you can just get one.
Exactly. And I'm sure if the CCP watches this, I'm in handcuffs right as I come onto the airport. But the thing is I'm not afraid.
I'll put attorneys together and do what I can, right? Okay?
I'm not afraid. Like, there's this running theme in my life, too, of, like, I'm not afraid to say the things that need to be said, and I'm not afraid of what can happen. And so that moment we were having in that story a second ago that I didn't finish was, having that moment of pause is hard. Like, to answer someone, yeah, I believe in God. I'm a Christian. I'm trying to live a faithful and fruitful life. That's what's hard. Mm-hmm. Those are the hard moments. Those are the hard moments that I haven't truly ever experienced. And I've been to these countries. I've been to Egypt, Morocco, Brazil, Africa, like all these places. And not once was my faith ever put into a situation where I could be in trouble. So you sit there and you think about it and you go, man, these people are really living kind of how they used to, You think about the lions and all the things that happened with David, and you almost become a living example of it at that point of, okay, that's still something that happens to today. You're not getting thrown to lions. You wind up in jail, though. You could wind up in a concentration camp.
Yeah, persecuted. I mean, it's just... Yeah.
And
it's crazy that's still going on. And if you wouldn't have went over there, I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't have known if I wouldn't have met that guy. Because everything's so like sheltered and blocked there. Like they have this thing called the Great Firewall. And what it is like I have to be on a VPN to even like use my phone, right? And I can't access the outside internet. I can't really even make phone calls unless, I'm doing it on Wi-Fi and have my cell phone outside catching the one signal that I'm able to get on 5G China mobile. But what happens is like, even in all of that, it's being monitored. Everything is monitored there. When I drive, like I go down the road, every stoplight has a camera. We have that here in the States. Yeah. But here it's like a big camera that flashes. They take a picture of you. And so this is kind of something that happened was I got into a situation where I needed to leave and things like that, and I couldn't get a driver, things like that, and I wound up using taking a scooter that I have no idea whose scooter it was, probably shouldn't have done it, type of thing. And I go to the train station.
Firefly.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Like I wasn't scared or anything like that. What was going on? It was just I needed to leave. I needed to get out now, and so that's what I did. All means necessary. This is what we learned in the Marine Corps. You adapt, overcome, and push through. And whether it be something as small as that, or you're working on something, you have these small things in these moments. This one was just a larger moment than it needed to be. Probably should have cooled my jets a little bit, in all honesty, and just waited it out, but wound up leaving. And I lost my train of thought, man. The thing for me in that situation was it could have turned really bad really quickly, right? And as I'm kind of going down the road, I'm not really thinking about it. Every time I hit one of these stoplights, they're taking a picture of me. And for myself...
On a stolen scooter.
In China. Communist country. CCP. Retired military. Like, still working in the government, doing things, and just not a smart decision, in all honesty.
You got to the train station.
I got to the train station, got on
and
the
you
train.
got out of there.
I left. And when I came back this last time, first thing I do is get off the train, go, and they're like, hey, we've got to go over to a building. I'm like, okay. Well, the building is actually right next to my apartment that they have. Find it even more weird that that's where I'm at now. But we go in, and it is it's a police station, but it's for immigration, and it's for all of that. They set me down. They start talking. They're like, hey, did you steal a scooter? I was like, I thought this is one of those moments where, dude, things just come out. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I stole a scooter. I thought it was ours, maybe. I don't know. For sure shouldn't have said what I said. And they're like, well, we could throw you in jail right now. And I'm like, oh, and so they're telling me all these things that can happen, all this. And they're like, we need your passport, which is, I've always heard, if you go to another country, don't give up your passport. I don't care who it is.
Because if you ain't got it back, if they don't give it back, you can't get out.
Yep. And the nice part was I had already got in touch with the consulate and the embassy, working through them and working with that stuff. So they knew. And they take my passport, they take a bunch of pictures of me and give it back to me. And they're like, all right, well, you're in our system now. And they go, everyone on the stoplights that you go through, just know it's got facial recognition. It's like they were just saying, hey, man, this is your one-time
warning.
Yeah. And
not really even a warning, just you're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah. And I was like, no. I was like, I don't even have a scooter. I don't own a scooter. I don't have a license, any of that. And they're like, okay, just whatever. I'm not gonna lie. 2 days later, I went out and bought a scooter, because I was tired of trying to get people to take me around and stuff like that. So I went out and bought a scooter, and I got the license. I did it right, and so I was able to scoot around town, and that's what I did. And I've ran into some amazing people. It's where the cigar story came from with the guy, and just smoking a cigar, driving a little scooter that's 85 cc in this industrial town in China. I'll have to send you some pictures and video of it.
So many people over there now have a new friend, Huston.
Yeah, Huston. Yeah, they call me the American. It's
how blessed do you feel from being and going to other countries? I never have been. The only place I've ever been is Mexico.
Yeah.
I just got my passport finally approved from the issues I've been through in my life, but I finally got it just November of last year. So I'm just able to travel. How blessed does it make you feel to be an American and live in America?
I mean, I'm not in jail for stealing a scooter, so I'm very blessed that America has given me an opportunity just in myself, from being in the military to the things that I'm doing now, along with Department of Defense and all the things that I have going, that there's no greater love I have than for America and God, and that's, what do they call it? The apple pie of America, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I grew up here. I grew up being able to speak my mind. You go into all these other countries where they're not allowed to speak their mind. You say something, post something, you're going to jail. And you see this kind of happen. I'm not trying to get very too political or anything here, but you're starting to see some things happen over in Europe about it. And there are places I won't go in Europe anymore. And so I feel extremely blessed to be able to go and see these parts of the world that we're only getting news snippets of.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you decide you want to go somewhere, man, let me know. I'll show up. Well, there's a ton of places I'd love to see you go. And there are a ton of places that people won't go because they've heard so many terrible things about them. Some of them are true. Some of them are from years ago. Some of them are probably still true. But what I've found traveling and being American is, if I tell someone I'm American, depending on what country I'm in, you get treated completely different. China being one.
Bad or good?
Depends. I've had both. Egypt, you would think Egypt would be pretty nice to Americans, and they are, depending on where you're at in Egypt. I was in Cairo. I wanted to see the pyramids and do everything. Old Cairo is different from New Cairo. New Cairo is very much, Miami, Florida type of people, New York, Chicago type of mindset. In Old Cairo, when I'd walk through, they still remember what we did to them in the 80s and 90s in the military. We tried to wipe them off the earth for certain things. We attacked them. Very much different, treated different there. But I go to China, where I'm told I'm going to get treated terribly. I don't think I've bought one piece of food item when I've gone out, or a drink that I've had, because everyone's so nice.
They just give it to you?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a lot like, I've been to like Afghanistan and Pakistan and things like that, and it's that same philosophy in life is it all goes back to that story of Matthew, of how you're going to treat the things you have and your talents and how you're going to be to people that you come in contact with. And they're like, they want that hospitable moment with you. And I, as an American, as someone from the West, a Westerner, they don't see that a lot in the area that I'm in. Very rare to see an American there. There's Germans there. There's a couple of Germans there because there's another aircraft company there. But Americans, it's not something that happens. And so I walk around, people want to take pictures, which is even more crazy because I'm like, where is this going to wind up? They don't have Instagram, but they have these other things called like Mimo and all these other things that I'm now on because people are like, you need to see what's going on in China. But it's very much controlled too. So a lot of stuff I see is, not accurate. But they want you to experience their culture. They want you to feel loved and
absolutely
feel all the things that we want to make people feel, right, as being godly men and as Christians. And so it's just weird. But the government there, they hate Americans, right? They don't want anything to do with them. But the people there, they want to be American almost. They're like, that's all I hear about. They want to talk about Texas.
Yeah.
And,
I would think that they would feel different. The government would feel different. I mean, a lot of the money they make is off of America.
So
correct?
Am
I being correct in saying that?
And it's opening up, right? And like if you go through Hong Kong, which if there's ever a place anyone should go see, I would say go to Hong Kong, Shanghai, in China. Start there, go to Beijing, go see the Great Wall. But start with Hong Kong and just drive around and see what you see. It's container ships all through that port. And all it is stuff coming to America. And even with these tariffs and all these things that are going on, they don't care. Because if they're selling it to you for $1, they made it for 10 cents. There's still 90 cents there for them to buff with.
Absolutely.
And the average pay there is pretty low. It's about $120 a month out in the area where I'm at.
Like U.S. dollars?
Yeah, U.S. dollars. And
$120 a month.
It is the cheapest country I've ever been in.
I think we spend that on a meal over here now.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put it this way.
Of 3.
The grocery store I go to, it's a big shopping market. Like it looks like a Sam's. It's actually really cool, but it's all fresh. And that's one reason, like, I don't know if you noticed, but the last time you guys saw me, I was a lot heavier. The reason I lost so much weight was because the food's better there. Like there's no preservatives, things like that, which they're doing good on, right? But I walk into a grocery store there, and I get, a 10-pound bag of chicken here. It's like $30. I spent $6 on a 10-pound bag.
What?
Yeah, and that was, I think, the whole cost for me to eat there a week, for me cooking, eating basically like 3 pieces of chicken a day. I'm talking big pieces, fresh chicken breast.
$6 for that?
Yeah, I think the average bill there that I have is like less than like $6, $7.
Man.
No matter what, like, and we were talking about this. I went out to Pizza Hut and I was fully expecting to pay for my meal and stuff, and they wanted to just, someone paid for it, which is even more crazy. And like I scan it, and I'm like, what the heck? This thing isn't working. And like I remember like kind of adding it up in my head. I had like a Coke that I hadn't had in like 2 months, a pizza that I'd been craving for a month, and it was still only going to be like $12.
Did it taste the same as over here?
Yeah, and that's
Pizza
the thing
Hut?
is it did, but pizza there is different. And I love pizza and like apple pie and stuff. Pizza there, they do this thing. They put Duran on it. It's this fruit. And so the first pizza I had there, I bit into it thinking, oh man, this is going to be awesome. It's a cheese pepperoni pizza. It's not pepperoni like you and I think of that we have here in the States. It's more like salami.
Oh, okay.
And so like I bite into it, and one, it tastes like ketchup. I'm like, why is this?
I don't know why it's funny, but it is.
Yeah. And then I get this like sour fruit taste in my mouth, and I'm like I spit it out. And I'm like,
Man.
I travel all over the world. This is the worst pizza.
Can I get a sausage pizza, please?
Yeah, exactly. It was like, it was disgusting. And then the lady, like we talked a little bit, and she's like, oh yeah, we put Duran on everything here, pizza related. I'm like, that's not how we do it in the States, man.
No.
That's not good
I can
pizza.
say Hideaway Pizza.
Yeah.
Shout out Hideaway, because you guys know I love you. Their Da Bomb pizza has just little pieces of pineapple on it.
Yeah.
and it's just the right
Yeah.
thing to just kind of.
I can't do the fruit on it, man.
Man.
And I've never had Duran, so I had no idea what this taste was.
No, the bomb.
You don't like, but like Duran tastes like sour banana. Like those.
Man, I've never even heard of Duran in my life.
I'm trying to think the banana Starburst back in the day. Mm-hmm. No one wanted those, right? It tastes like that, just sour. That's exactly what it tastes like. I'm sitting here.
I'd go for sour pizza.
Yeah, it was and then getting that ketchup flavor, like tomato ketchupy vinegar taste afterwards. I'm like, luckily I didn't throw up.
Is there ketchup and things like that?
Yeah, no, it's very much Western civilization style stuff over there. There are some things that they don't have. Mayonnaise is actually a big.
I mean, I'm not mad about that.
Yeah, I'm not a mayonnaise with the diet I do. I use mayonnaise and celery salt together, and it makes like a dip that's like very high fat, low in calories. Yeah. It's like really good. And so I was looking for it, and I wound up buying it off of this thing called Talbo, and there it's like their Temu, but it's large quantities. Uh-huh. And like when I think about it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get this box of mayo that's in this bag or whatever, and it's like it tells me it's like 500 milliliters or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what that, it's maybe one of those small bottles or something. So I ordered like 3 of them, thinking, whatever. Dude, it comes in the mail, and it's like 5 big like I don't know, maybe 6-pound bags of mayo. And then same thing, I did it with Jell-O because they don't have sugar-free Jell-O and over there, so I was gonna make my own. And I order what I think is like just like one of those little boxes. Mm-hmm. It's a case. I get a case of Jell-O powder, and it was like $3. Everything is so cheap there, absolutely cheap. That scooter I bought, $285.
Get out of here!
And brand new. It
like 49cc.
Yeah, it goes like I don't know, maybe 45 miles an hour.
Man,
yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to get it back to the States, but by the time it gets here, it'll be like $3,000.
If not more. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, in the terrorists.
If you're still in the military, they'd send it over here for free.
Yeah, right, yeah. But and that's the part of it that we're dealing with too, with like doing the airplanes and all the stuff that I want to do. You have to pay the tariffs and all of that, and so it is making life a little harder over there for people, from what it sounds like. But they make such little money there that anything over like $100 bill is they're so excited about, right? And like, I come back here to the States this week, and like I spent $100 in fuel, like getting out of the plane. I'm like,
absolutely.
It just puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
And like I go and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go get some, pineapple or some chicken or something, and $50.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm like, man, I need to. This is not something I would ever say, but like I need to get back over to China.
I feel for people in their grocery bills. I really do, because you really don't get very much these days, and it's very difficult. For people to get food. I want to touch on something else too, because obviously I love cars, but you're a Jeep guy.
Yeah,
that's like my thing, you got your new Jeep too.
Yeah. Jeeps are my thing, man. I like the old ones. Those are the big ones that for me.
And you still have one. You have an old one that you're wanting to redo, correct?
Yeah. So I bought a couple of them. This is that thing like where you were talking about like, you sat there and you're like, you pay the money and you're like, why did I do that type of thing? I should be using it for something else. Mm-hmm. But it's okay to treat yourself when you've helped people, right?
Absolutely.
Like, and we can sit here and say, oh, that's how you do it, right? But at the end game on that is, it still is kind of a selfish thing to do, right? But for me, I've been around Jeeps my whole life, built them, sold them. This last one I bought was a Tuxedo CJ5 1969. Completely like rusted out. The guy was like, it doesn't run, and I didn't spend very much on it. It was like $800. It's dirt cheap considering what I spent other money on Jeeps.
Yeah.
And I get it back. I am kind of hanging out, and I get it running, right? And so now it's like, okay, what's it worth now? Well, it's worth like $3,000.
Yeah, if not more.
Right, and that's how that game works. Is you use the things to kind of push it, and so. For me, that's my thing. I like Jeeps. Jeeps and airplanes are probably the thing that I struggle the most with.
The two coolest things in your life?
Yeah. It's just because I like, when my dad passed away, I built this 1945 CJ2A, and I got it from the Marine Corps while I was out in Pendleton. I was at Wounded Warrior out there, and they came in. They were like, hey, we want to give you a project. What do you want to do? And I'm like, oh, I saw this Jeep, and I had another Jeep at the time, wound up selling it, little small one, and a couple weeks go by, I wind up kind of leaving, and they're like, hey, go out to the parking lot. And this Jeep's sitting there. And I'm like, what? So I start fiddling with this thing, while I'm out there, and I come back and like I get a phone call from my mom. Hey, your dad's not doing so well. You think about this, like you don't see your parents age in front of you if you're not around, right? It's a whole mirror thing. Like you don't see yourself get fat unless there's a mirror in front of you.
Unless you're looking every day.
Yeah. Well, and if you look every day, sometimes you're like, that's just normal. The pudge is there. But my mom calls and she's like, your dad's not doing so hot. And I'm like, okay. Well, what she failed to tell me was that my dad was in the hospital for a stroke. So, it's not her fault. She was just trying to get me to focus on the things I needed to focus on at the time, and coming back and things like that. And, we wound up going back a couple months later. My dad's not doing so hot. I got this Jeep. My dad passes away. But before all that, for me, Jeeps are how I connected with my dad, how I connected with my friends. And my dad's at hospice up at the VA. Man, I hope I don't cry telling this story, dude.
Oh, you're good, bro.
This one's a tough one. Just thinking about it. My dad's in hospice up at the VA in Fayetteville. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but there used to be this big circle, and they had all these flags that they flew, all 50 states and all the American flags there to honor. And so my dad's not doing so hot. I'm in there. We're talking. And he says this thing to me. He's like, man, I'd love to see that Jeep in green sometime, And they're telling me, your dad's only got like a couple weeks, maybe a month, all these things. And like my family's breaking down. We're about to lose the rock around our life. Kept both sides of the family together, all this stuff. And at that moment, I really wasn't following God in my life. It was a different path for me then. And so I'm sitting in the garage one night, and I'm just staring at this thing. It's like orange, faded, rusted. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to paint this thing green. I'm going to get it running. And this thing's not bad. It runs, it drives, I take this thing all apart. I mean, I'm talking tub off, wheels off, paint the frame, all this stuff. And for like 5 days, I'm up doing this. My wife at the time is coming out, and she's like, you're crazy. I'm like, I don't know. There's something in me. But what's crazy is while I'm sitting there like welding in pinholes and stuff on the metal, I'm talking to God. Something I haven't done in years at that point. And I'm like, God, my dad's not doing so hot. I'm not doing so hot. What's this life like for me? And I just felt this like calming peace come over me. And, I get it done. And my dad was a funny guy, man. I wish you could have met him. I wish everyone could meet him. When he passed away, he was well known in the area, military guy, police officer for a very long time. Tons of people I had never met in my life showed up to his funeral. But anyway, long story short, I get up, and that morning I'm sitting there going, I'm going to go see my dad. I'm going to drive this little Jeep up there. I'm in Cape Springs. It's like about 30 minutes by car anyway, 20. And that old Jeep, man, it's like an hour.
Yeah, that's a long drive for a 69.
Yeah. And
whatever year it was.
I think it was a 45.
40-something.
Yeah, and no overdrive, 3-speed on the tree. And I pull up to the VA. I'm sitting there. I got these 2 cigars in my pocket. And I just start laughing because I'm like, so my dad, when he was at hospice, he would try to stand up, try to get up out of the bed and stuff. And my dad was never a guy that just lay around. It's not who he was. Nurses there, they loved him. They thought it was hilarious. I'm sure he was hitting on them. Sorry, Mom, if you were watching. But, he would just try to make everyone have fun.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, but she knows. They were together for 38 years, man. And I told my mom, recently we were talking, and she was like, I'll never love anyone like your dad. I was like, well, Mom, you need to find a church daddy. You can go sit at church. You guys can hold hands. Past that, you're good.
Yeah.
And, she laughs. But, she's like, I never love anyone more than your dad. They were perfect example of how love's supposed to be. And so anyway, there's this nurse that's up there at hospice. Me and her, we had these moments because my dad would be like, I want to go down and grab something from the cafeteria. We wheel him out type of thing. my dad liked to smoke cigarettes. We'd go outside and smoke a cigarette.
And he wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah, he hooked up the oxygen. Yeah. So she knows, like, if I'm there and I'm asking to do something, we're probably going outside. Yeah. And so...
And obviously you smell when you come back in.
Yeah. And, my dad's like, oh, yeah, Jell-O was great.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And so I'm talking to her, and I'm like, hey, when's your lunch break? Immediately, I think red flags start getting thrown for her. She's like, well, I'm about to leave in about 10 minutes. She's like, you want to take her down to the cafeteria? I was like, yeah, I think we're going to put him in the chair and go down there, And she's like, all right. She's like, well, don't be gone too long. And she must have been having a great day because she was never like that with me before. She'd be asking me questions, all this stuff. And, I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? He's like, he's like, I really go for a hamburger and a freaking cigarette right now. And I'm like, I don't got any hamburgers. I was like, I don't got any cigarettes. I was like, I got a cigar though. He's like, so I put him in the chair. We go down, go outside. We're sitting there and he sees the Jeep, and dude, his
in green,
the big star on it, everything. And the guy that was there, he was a security guard. He was walking up and he's like, you know who has that Jeep? Because I parked it right in the front. I didn't care at that point. And I was like, that's mine. He's like, that's a nice Jeep. I was like, hey, do you mind helping me? He's like, what do you need? I was like, can you help me lift my dad up in the Jeep? My dad's like, I don't need any help, And he's like, that's just who he is. Yeah. He's weak. He can barely hold himself up. We get him into the Jeep. I got those cigars in my pocket. I cut them. We light them. We start just driving around in this circle. We're going maybe 15 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, whatever it was. Might have even been 3 miles an hour. I don't know because I was having such a great time. And I'm watching my dad smoke this cigar and just looking up and just loving life, man. Like, I hadn't seen it in years. And we're laughing, and my dad, I'm not going to say exactly what he said because he got some curse words, but he's like, that old lady in there is going to be so pissed. And I'm like, well, we'll figure it out. And so, like, we drive down and we go around the hill and we come back up. My dad's from Fayetteville, so he loves that area. And we come back and that lady is standing there with her arms crossed, just looking at us. I'm like, Dad. He's like, I know. He's like, go around the circle one more time. I don't know if maybe he thought that she'd just go back inside or not, but we go around that. And I think that just made her more mad. And so he gives me the cigar, what's left of the cigar. We put them out and we park, and she brings a little wheelchair over, and she's like, in all the years I've been here, this is the dumbest, and she said the F word, thing I have ever seen in my life. And I go, oh, I was like, I'm sure that elevator ride's going to be amazing. So we get in the elevator, we go up, and, she's just scolding me. She's like, I can't believe you do it. And she's like, I'm not going to tell your family, your mom and your sister and all this stuff. Like, my mom and sister know me well enough to know they'd just laugh, But we get my dad into the hospital bed, and he's tired. You can tell it took just about everything out of him. And, he's, I love you. It's one of the last times I heard it. And, he goes to sleep pretty quick. And I'm like, probably 10 minutes, not right then. But I walk out to the nurse's station and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I apologize because, I did. It could have been bad. What if he would have had a stroke? All these things going through my mind. Yeah. She's right. Almost my joy coming down. And she just starts crying. She's like, and all the time I've done this, I've never seen someone that happy. Because that floor is all about going to die. Yeah, truly.
Absolutely.
And
they know it. Imagine that, being there, knowing, and being a strong man, and living your life the way you have, and holding your families together, and being the rock.
Yeah.
And now realizing, hey, man, I'm at my end. But I guarantee you that that ride was probably the best ride he ever took in a Jeep.
Yeah, dude, I think about it all the time. And what's crazy is I wound up selling that Jeep. It's the dumbest thing I've ever done. Like, in my life, I think about it, every time I work on something, every time I think about my dad. I'm going to get it back. The guy in Seattle is going to sell it back to me.
You mentioned that to me back then, too, that you knew where it was.
But you have these moments, right? And, like, I sold that Jeep to pursue a different dream. And that dream was to go out to the Reno Air Races, the national championship. And I thought about it while I was sending it. I was driving it around. All these little things that have happened in my life, these great moments, they've made even better moments. And it's just listening to that little voice in my head go, God, is this what I need to do? Is this what you want me to do? Right? I have regret, but at the time I prayed about it. I thought about the things I wanted to do and what I would think my dad would want.
Yeah.
And absolutely. That's the whole reason I'm in aviation. So, I sell this thing, and it provides the vehicle to get me out to Reno air races. And my dad saw that. I'm a firm believer in that.
Me too. Me too.
And I'll tell you what, though, that last ride, putting it up on that car hauler was tough, and then watching it drive off was even more tough. But sometimes I wish I had it so I could go light a cigar and just go around. But I guarantee you that he probably dreamed about it that night.
1,000%.
And it wasn't much later. It was about a week and a half later we lost him. And, at the time, if I would have been doing all the other stuff I was doing and all the things that I shouldn't have been doing, I wouldn't have had that opportunity,
It's super hard losing people that are so close to you. I lost my dad, I guess it's been about 4 years ago, and my mom about 6 years ago. But you actually lose a part of yourself.
Yeah, man.
And it takes some time to hit you, too. You get the initial kind of shock, but then it probably took 4 or 5 years for my mom to hit me, because I would still talk to her, because anytime I used to make a sell or anything, she was my cheerleader, so I'd call her.
Yep.
And she was always so proud. And everyone else I'd call, and inside, they're probably just hating.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a tough situation losing a father, especially one as close as y'all were.
Yeah, it was first. I grew up in a home where like love and affection wasn't something males gave.
Yep.
Everyone talks about this.
Same.
They're like, I think about it and I'm like, why are they talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize, like, yeah, you didn't grow up that way. And so, like, now it's like you get a hug from someone and you're like, man, that's amazing.
Yes.
Type of feeling.
Absolutely.
And it takes someone strong enough to say, you know what? Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, we're supposed to tell each other. I think we spoke on this last podcast, but it's men are always supposed to be the strong ones. But I just started. My dad never told me he loved me until I started telling him when I was older. It wasn't really a thing.
Same.
Men are starting to tell each other. I tell
You say it to me.
Yeah, I say.
I'm like, I don't even know.
I do.
No, okay.
And I do. I tell everybody.
Yeah.
If I love you, I love you, and I'm gonna tell you. And I feel like everyone should feel that way.
Yeah, always, because you never know, and that's that. It goes back to that 10 minutes thing. If you only got 10 minutes with someone, are you going to be able to give them everything they need? No, but you might give them that one thing. It might be a hug. It might be a hey, I love you. Hey, I hope you're doing good. It might even be a question. Hey, how you doing today? And that's the part that a lot of us don't get, especially people that are doing things in life that there's not anybody else there.
Absolutely.
And having that support when you go home might not be there, and so you bottle it up. And for guys from my generation that were in the military, and people that are coming out of the military, a lot of that was stuff that we just hold. We don't talk about it when ultimately it eats you up at you. And those guys are the guys that need it. Just hey, how you doing today, dude? And all my Marine Corps buddies, it doesn't matter if they're a Marine. It doesn't matter. Someone that owns a business or someone that I met across the street. So sometimes it's just, hey, how you doing today?
Absolutely. And people need that. I got 2 messages. Usually in the mornings I've got several. I'm beginning to get more special people in my life. But this morning I had 2 different ones I woke up to, Each one of them sent a Bible verse. Each one of them told me what I meant to them. And you wake up and you think, wow, man, this is going to be a good day. Just knowing that people love me and want for me and are there for me. Because sometimes I do feel very alone because, it's just me and my brothers. We don't have any, not any family. I've got one aunt. My Aunt Patty left. I've got an Uncle Eddie that's not here anymore. He lives up north, but we really don't see anybody, So sometimes you just feel really alone.
Yeah.
But the closer I get with God, I know that as long as my faith is strong and I'm with God, I'm never alone. And I just try to concentrate on knowing that they're up there watching and seeing, and that they're extremely happy.
Yeah. And think about what your mom's saying to everyone. That's my boy.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
That's what I hope my dad's doing. He's probably, hey, don't hit on that girl. Okay.
Leave my nurse alone.
Yeah, leave my nurse alone. No, but you know that, and that's the part. We all try to be these examples of how to do it better than how we were taught. And you know, when you have these examples in life, from whether it be, you know, work, relationships, family, you always try to do it better than what
Absolutely.
you were taught.
I tell my little girl I love her probably 30, 40 times a day.
Yeah.
You know, and she's the same with me. You know, my wife too. I mean, we speak it in our household. I am blessed to have a happy home to go home to. The last 2 years have just been, you know, me and Lena has been together for, you know, 22, 23 years, married 18 on November 17th of this year. And it wasn't always easy, man, but, you know, I was always the problem. But fixing myself, I wish I could have did it before I turned 41 years old. I'm about to turn 43 now.
That's what I say.
I wish I would have found it faster. But I've also had people tell me, at least you found it. Exactly. Because a lot of people get all the way through their life and they never find it.
Yep.
They never find the joy of we serve such a mighty God, the love he has for us. Think about the things that we have done to people and the things that we've been through and how much he loves us right now.
Yeah.
I mean, how beautiful is that?
Right. It's the sinner,
you know?
the sinner in the Bible, right? And the guy that's sitting in the jail cell is not any different than the guy sitting on a mountain.
Absolutely not. That's why I go to the county and talk to the guys in the jail cells.
Yeah, and that's that. I'll tell you what, man, your testimony and your witness and the things that you're doing, it's the reason why you're getting those Bible verses. It's because you're touching people's lives, and it's one of those things for someone that's been in a situation that has done the terrible things, that has felt the self-degradation of like, I wish I would have done better, I wish I would have found this sooner type of thing, but you found it. And just like that guy sitting in a jail cell, he found it too.
And that's where I found it.
Yeah, exactly. And you're that example, you know, all the people that work here, all the people that you're blessing in the lives, you know, I hear you talk more about other people than yourself. And that is not something that happens when you get to the level that you're at. And I want you to know that I like it as an example for myself, man. You know, we can sit here and hug it out and you can tell me you love me, but at the end of the day, we're brothers in Christ, and your example is what is polishing off onto all the other people, and your light is bright.
Thank you, man.
You know?
Thank you. And that's what I want people to see, because I used to only think about myself.
Right.
And until you become selfless with God, I think that's where everything, you know, I make it kind of funny because Lena used to always say, because I was always about self and it was always about me, and I wanted attention, not having it growing up. So I just urged for it. And she used to tell me, you know, she's made comments before, this ain't the Travis Yarbrough show. Well, now it is.
You just take that picture and send it to her every time. No.
Now it is.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, man, I want to thank you for coming on today. I want to thank you for letting yourself go and being, can't really find the word for it right now, but just everything you've said and spoke on, allowing your feelings to show. It means a whole lot, and it was very important for me to hear it, and it's going to be important for a lot of other people. And go find Justin. I'll put some things on the post. Find him, follow him, watch what he's got going on in the future, and wish him luck. And I'm sure if there's anyone out there hurting today or needing anything, I'm speaking on behalf of us both. Reach out. I know his heart, so I'm not going to ask him if it's okay, because I already know he wants it. He strives on helping people. And just be blessed.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? Is there anything you'd like to say or leave?
Man, if you're struggling, you're down and out, you're rock bottom, send a message. You know, veteran doesn't matter. You know, Marine doesn't matter. I want to talk to you. Sometimes just having a conversation opens doors that we never knew were there. And for myself and the things I've got going forward with, what I'm doing in the airplane world and stuff like that. When it comes back here to Fort Smith and things like that, I'm getting ready to try to do some ministry with real estate. So stay tuned on that. There's more on that.
Love it.
We can talk about that offline.
We will.
But I pulled my first line of credit, so it's happening.
It's time to rock.
Being blessed, man.
What that means is that's when it gets really real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Looking at it, going, oh, okay. Well, I got to make it happen now.
Absolutely.
Blessing people.
And it really takes that, man, sometimes you just got to take a big bite, man.
Right. And
nothing comes easy.
Think about the guy that
no risk it, no biscuit.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to the parable, right? And I'll say this, that think about the guy that had 5 and the guy that had 1. The guy that had 5 was all in. He got 10, right? He doubled it, is what it says. The guy that had 1 would have only had 2. But if he would have done it again, he would have had 4. If he would have had 4, he would have had 8. Sometimes somebody's path of being all the way up here with 10 is just as hard as the guy with the 1 piece down here.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's probably harder because...
I see it as being harder.
Yeah.
Because, you started with 1 piece down here.
Yeah.
Actually, you started without any pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've
hustle.
came a really long ways just since the time I've met you. I think it's been about 1.5 years or 2 years now.
Yeah, it's about a year, a little over.
But yeah, you've come such a way. You've come such a far, so far. Justin, thank you so much, brother, for coming on. Thank you, everyone that's came on and watched. Please continue. Reach out if you need help, and just everyone know that Jesus loves you and I love you. Have a great day.